Chapter 27. A random inhabitant of planet Earth was relaxing in his sleeping pill cabin after a day of exhausting work. The young girl watched a documentary about dolphins on a screen built into the ceiling of the meter-high cyber coffin.
The body temperature of a dolphin is 37 degrees Celsius. Only about 500 of these beautiful specimens are left on the planet.
The voice explained. The girl thought that because of their brain size and the ratio to their bodies plus their body temperatures, they must be like the humans of the water. She thought that they looked quite friendly too, like most humans are. She thought that butterflies were the flowers of the air and medusas were the flowers of the water. She thought that all humans were just flowers too. Flowers with arms and legs and one more eye. The ventilator rattled in her tiny sleeping catacomb and she tried to fix it by knocking on it softly. Dust and dirt particles flew into her cabin. Suddenly, she felt suffering and claustrophobic like a dolphin in dirty water. The girl felt an immense dysphoria and wished to writhe, to slither like an earthworm after rain. She crawled out her sleeping pill through the back end and cleaned herself up. She realized she hadn't smiled for 2 months and she tried it out just to see if she still knew how to do it. An insane gaze appeared on her face. She left the sleeping pill complex and walked the narrow streets still filled with many people out walking in the middle of the night. Places offering food and hygiene services were open all day and all night. A little rain fell. She walked through an abyss of advertisements, mountains of useless information. The young girl had tried most foods that her area had to offer, and yet she was skinny.
Just a small bag of chips is all I want now. I could kill for a small bag of chips right now.
She tried to ignore her hunger and kept walking past all the food places. Not too recently, a law was passed that forbade the scent of food on the street, so at least her senses were at peace. She saw the indication posts for brain augmentation hotspots alluring customers who had such an upgrade inserted into their heads.
Lousy cyber trash. Living in a simulation that is absolutely fake, synthetic, and boring. Fucking freaks putting metal in their brains to see pictures. That must get boring quick.
She could not imagine how such a thing worked. She could not grasp the fantasy that could be experienced with such a device. The girl often watched the war games and actually felt quite passionate about them. There was this one cutie with the number 456 that she thought was the hottest guy on the planet. An absolute crush. She felt a warmth in her chest and a burning on her cheeks just by imagining that boy in front of her. He was a pretty good sniper. He was quite accurate, and she loved to watch his point of view for the whole game. He was just sitting there in the bush for hours, scoping his power rifle in on the enemies and pulling the trigger. She arrived at a laundry salon. The owner greeted her. There was nothing atypical about that place, and if there was, no one would have seen it through the tinted windows. Spider. That was the name of the cashier. Gave her a small handbag with clean panties and a bra inside. She had a look inside the bag and saw a small gun and a postcard with an address on the other side. The gun was hidden in a secret compartment. Spider put a photograph on the table with a portrait of a woman and asked her if she had memorized the face. The girl nodded. He burned the photograph.
Do you want an AMD?
Spider offered her an electromagnetic pulse manipulation device that hacked the surrounding cameras and scanning devices.
Yes, I feel safer with it.
In fact, it was less safe because the device created a known distortion pattern in the system that made it instantly known that someone was walking through the area with such a device. The possession of an EMDOD was illegal.
Here you go. Just remember to turn it off when you come back.
Spider didn't want to be traced. Goal threw it in her bag. She made her way to the address and imagined herself wearing the beautiful bra and underwear for her love 456. She dreamt of putting flowers in the hair behind her panties and bra. Her prince would kiss her terrible life away. She didn't mind killing for the mob even. It was a rare occasion. Once per month, most of the time. A kill paid for the sleeping pill, and it was better than sleeping on the streets. She could afford a treat or a piece of clothing with that money, and Spider doing her laundry was a plus. 200 meters from the address, she turned the EM on. She walked inside the building with a smile on her lips. The girl pulled the gun out and pointed it at the lady's head. She then unloaded it 6 times, leaving 1 in the chamber for herself. Just in case. Being caught meant being executed by a machine that would evaporate her. She didn't know what the lady was being murdered for. The girl only felt the recoil in her hand and saw the blood trickle from the lady. She popped her in the head real good. The girl put the gun back into the bag and left. After a few blocks, she remembered to turn off the EMD. She returned to her small sleeping pill, still hungry and without a reward. She had to bring the gun and EMD back to Spider, and he would pay her, but not before her panties were dirty.